Brought to you by SAP. SAP helps companies run like never before. Learn more by visiting us online.
Hello and welcome to Tech at Work, the program that brings you the bottom line in corporate technology. I'm Nozipho Mbanjwa. On the show this week, which app is revolutionizing the fight against malaria in Uganda? We'll tell you more. Chris Willem from Space Age Technologies explains the concept of relevant IT, a new approach that helps business leaders and IT see eye to eye in achieving business goals. And is the robotic revolution already upon us? We take a closer look at the Robotics Industry Summit Forum in Japan. We've got all this and more in store for you tonight, so stay tuned. But first, applications or apps have made life a lot easier across many sectors. But here's a first from Uganda. The Matibabu app is set to revolutionize the fight against malaria and emerged winner at the 2013 Microsoft Imagine Cup in Russia in July. When it's estimated that up to 100,000 Ugandans die each year from the tropical disease, let's see how technology could put a stop to that.
21-year-old Brian Gita first contracted malaria around the age of 3. Since then, and like scores of other Ugandans, he's lost count how many times he's contracted the disease. But thanks to work by Gita and 2 of his fellow students at Malaria University in Kampala, this could be a thing of the past. They've developed a mobile phone application that detects malaria without the use of needles.
Now what we do is to project red light on the other side of the hand and pick red light on the other side, and pick how much light comes out on the other side. For a person who is normal, the light that will go through will come out because the red blood cells are very clean and they have their normal shape, which is bioconcave. But when they're infected, most of the light is going to be absorbed within the cell and it's going to disappear within. So what we do is to test how much light comes out on the other side and which ranges. So we know the ranges for a sick person and the range for a normal person. When we have that, that's when we communicate with the phone to tell you whether you're sick or not.
The application is called Matibabu, Swahili for medical center, and uses a matoscope which is connected to a smartphone to do a rapid diagnostic test. The application also sends results to an online hosting service which distributes it to the patient's doctor.
The possibility is endless scaling. The price point that they quoted is going to be less than $10 for the matoscope. Already that will give access to villages and regions who normally wouldn't have access to a lab. And so the possibility is just giving it and making it available on a much broader scale.
The application emerged the winner at the 2013 Microsoft Imagine Cup finals held in Russia in July. And now the team known as Code 8 will continue to develop the application under the guidance of Microsoft and the Malaria University.
This was an initiative that was launched by Microsoft in partnership with the Ministry of ICT in Uganda and UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. And so we created the enabling environment. We set up the platform in which Malaria could host Code 8 and provide mentorship, provide all the software development tools that were necessary to develop this idea and bring it to fruition.
Now, Alcatel might not be a name you've heard of in a while, but you could be hearing a lot more of it in the near future. The company has recently relaunched and hopes to take on the likes of Apple and Samsung. But with such fierce competition, how do you even begin to re-enter a market like this? And what role does Africa have to play? Ernst Wittman, country manager at Alcatel OneTouch, joins me in studio to shed some light on this. Welcome, Ernst, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, my first phone was an Alcatel, and then suddenly you were nowhere to be found. Where have you been, and what are you offering now?
Okay, so really good to hear that your first phone was an Alcatel product, and most people, I think, over the age of probably 25, either their first phone was an Alcatel product or someone they knew. So it stands us in good stead. I think with the brand recognition behind the company allows us to have some substance when we target entering new countries again. So Alcatel One Touch was part of a much bigger group back in the early days. There was a merger that took place with Alcatel-Lucent, and from there the mobile phone division was sold off to a company called TCL. TCL is the 6th largest company in China. It's the #1 television producer in the China market, and that gives us quite a bit of manufacturing power behind it.
Right.
We've in fact just opened up our 4th factory. So that's giving us a capacity for 2014 of 100 million handsets a year to produce. The African market, probably the most untapped market still within the industry. Europe, you've seen massive saturation taking place. African market, we're looking on average 40 to 50% market penetration. And at the same time, taking on, as you said earlier, taking on the likes of Apple and Samsung, that's not our main role,
right.
But there is a niche place in the market for us specifically. Most people can't afford the price of an iPhone or a Samsung.
Let's look at that niche very quickly. I mean, I would love to think that you have since evolved from my first handset, which was many, many years ago. What does the Alcatel brand promise now? What's your value proposition?
First of all, and most importantly, is still the highest quality of product available on the market. So especially when it comes to smartphone devices, most devices are within the Android portfolio are Google certified. A product has to be Google certified in order to access the Google Play Store. So you can get inferior products on the market that might say that they are Android, but if the product is not Google certified, you don't get to benefit from all the applications that are available on the Google Play Store.
Right.
So similar to the iPhone iStore, that is the Android version of it. So the accessibility is the most important thing. So high quality, cost effective. We offer products at a much reduced price compared to some of our A-brand competitors, but we're not compromising on any quality of the product itself.
Let's look at which consumers are currently benefiting from your strategy. You spoke about African markets being really important to you right now. Which of these economies are you finding the most traction?
Obviously, the South African market itself is probably one of the most advanced within the African continent. Kenya itself, we've seen the brand grow leaps and bounds. We're predominantly shipping more smartphones into Kenya than we are our traditional feature phones. The segment where we have, up until recently, been the most profitable from a volume perspective, obviously not from a financial perspective necessarily. The South African market is still a little bit behind when it comes to data. The consumer is still afraid of data based on the costs.
Right.
But we have seen the operators coming to the party of late where the data costs are starting to drop. So you'll see over Christmas, specifically within one of our networks, a Alcatel product under the Vodafone brand, retailing at 799 Rand for a smartphone device. This time last year, you definitely would not have seen that.
Very quickly before I let you go, Ernst, I mean, my first phone was purple and blue, and
Yes.
that was probably the one feature that really attracted me to it. Are we seeing a comeback in color as well?
For us, that has been our signature, is color. So even on a high-end device, just because you are in a high-profile position doesn't mean that your phone doesn't have to ooze a little bit of sexiness. So that is something that we do. So from cherry red to ice yellow to Lumo green, all those colors are available, and that's something that we will always continue doing.
Ernst, thank you so much for making the time to chat to us.